About this love. About this. About this love. About this love. Love. How you guys doing today? You are tuning into About This Love podcast with myself, Dale, and my wife, Sherelle. Say what's up to the peoples.
What's up, peoples?
How you guys doing? We are back. We are back after a long break. Sorry about that. Sometimes life just happens, and you just need to take time just to regroup. So we did. So we are back as always. Thank you guys for your support. Also, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, which are the only two places that you can follow us on, and you can find our podcast anywhere where podcasts can be found. So for today, let's get into it. We don't want to keep y'all waiting, we. So what's topic on for today, babe?
I guess we're going to talk about pranking in your relationship.
It's interesting because my wife had shown me a couple of videos where people were just pranking, and over the years I've just seen different ones, and sometimes I kind of shake my head. I just frown because I'm like, to what person is that cool? And sometimes like I remember one time I saw a prank where a guy, I guess he had called, I guess his girlfriend had came home or whatever. He usually, I guess, gets off work later. He got up pretty early, so he wanted to just prank his girlfriend. But to me, it was very dishonorable and very disrespectful. In the prank, he, I guess, had like some little blow up doll and under the covers, and acted like he was being intimate with another woman. And of course, his wife or girlfriend came inside the room. She drop kicked the doll, that was on top of her boyfriend or husband, whoever he was. And, you can see, he had a camera set up, in the corner somewhere, and, he was laughing, but she didn't find it very funny. What about you, babe? What was incidents that you've seen? I know you showed me the video the other day, but I'll let you talk about it.
Oh yeah, no. So I guess I'm on TikTok more, with being up late. And so it was a prank that I had just seen, like among like many different pranks, but this one in particular stood out to me, and I had shared it with you. I don't know if you got a chance to watch it.
Yeah, I saw it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. But so, like, in the prank, it was, like, this woman at the grocery store with her husband. So I guess she coordinated with a friend of hers that had a similar hair color to just go to the store with the same, color shirt on and the same color outfit on. But then she switched like jackets, hat, and purse with her, and then did a trade off. Like, so basically, instead of the wife walking beside the husband, it was now the friend. And I guess trying to see how long it would take the husband to figure out that he was walking with another woman. So throughout the prank, it was getting very interesting because as the husband's like, as they're shopping, I guess the husband would typically like, rub her back or rub her shoulder. So he was just doing what he typically did, not even thinking nothing about it, focused on what we're going to get for dinner or whatever. And so he's rubbing on her shoulder, and then like, the girl puts her arm around him, and then you hear the wife behind the camera like, I didn't approve that. I didn't tell her to do that. That's not approved. But then the issue starts to come in when the husband's hand starts moving lower and lower down the friend's back. And I guess before it got too, like, steamy, she had to like intercept and be like, oh, who's that? And the husband was completely shocked. And I mean, but you can hear in the wife's voice, she was just kind of like, no, I didn't approve that. Like, oh my gosh, like I didn't approve her to hug him back. And I'm just kind of like, why would you even set your husband up like that? Because I mean, on one hand, I know that this woman didn't have the same body type nor height as his wife.
It was similar. It was very similar.
It was not similar.
Even the hair, because to be honest, like they even had the same hair because from behind, at first I didn't even know it was the friend. So I mean, it's very similar.
No, Dale, the friend was taller and slimmer. So but by you saying that, it's going to make my point. As a woman, as a wife, I would be like, hold up, I don't look nothing like this chick. And you was just filling up on her. Like her body didn't feel different to you. Her height wasn't taller. Your arm wasn't much higher.
I mean, let's just.
No, Dale.
Well, I'll say this right here. For the sake of the podcast, or the argument, that's actually irrelevant.
No, so listen.
Because the husband really wasn't paying attention. But what I want to say is the argument in itself is it relevant because it's like you put him in that situation? It's like, because clearly he wasn't paying attention. I mean, he wasn't paying attention.
Okay, yes, he was not paying attention, but that is the husband's perspective. Now, for me as a wife, just hearing the differences in how you're saying that it's not even an argument or that's irrelevant, but to a wife, this is why I find pranks, especially like that one, you know, doing a wife swap, girlfriend swap, whatever, becomes an issue because as a woman, it's like everything that makes me unique that you fell in love with me for, now you didn't even notice. So look, now you're creating that insecurity in your relationship and you didn't even notice that you were doing that. You know what I'm saying? So that right there, I think that part was important to me because when I looked at that video, I was thinking, I mean, you know, how is this going to work? Because they're not even the same size or height. And yes, they have a similar hair color. They're not the same, but to you, your perspective was, I mean, he wasn't paying attention, and I got that part that he wasn't paying attention.
And I remember a few weeks ago, I almost got into a car crash. Like I actually had to slam my brakes because I wasn't paying attention. I was on my phone, and by the time I looked up, I had literally slammed on brakes, and I thought I was gonna hit the car, but I didn't. It stopped short of the vehicle in front of me, but. The point I'm making is like, rarely are people ever cognizant of whatever it is someone's saying or doing when they're not paying attention. Like, and it happens all the time on my job. Before we work, we always have a briefing, and someone will always ask, "Well, what we doing tonight?" He was like, "Well, I just said it at the briefing," but clearly they wasn't paying attention. So it's like, yeah, if you ain't paying attention, it's like, well. Shouldn't he have known my body type? And it's irrelevant.
Dale, but that's what I'm telling you. You're saying it's irrelevant to you, but just that right there, the fact that we have differences in how we even seen that prank, I'm just saying that's what that could have created in her, like in a wife. And that's why doing those type of pranks, you're like intentionally but unintentionally creating insecurities that probably weren't there before, or exposing an insecurity that might have already been there, but might have been something that was minuscule, but because you wanted to joke about it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's all I'm saying. Because as a wife, like for you, I mean, not to say that, oh, I'm going to pull a prank and, you know, you'd be cool with it. Like I would pull something like that and you'd be like, oh, okay, ha, ha, ha. But let's say I did and you laughed it off. In my head, I done already created like, okay, so, I mean, was he liking this chick? He done felt on her body. He felt my body before. Those two different bodies, you should have known, da-da-da-da-da. And then, you know, that's like probably so many different arguments or something that I can already foresee that like spawning into a whole unnecessary thing like later down the road.
Well, what I will say is that in those situations, the prankster is going to have to go ahead and take that L. When you do certain things, you actually put yourself in a position for whatever that happened to happen. That's the reality of it. And the reality of it is, if you're going to put your spouse, whether it's a man, like I said with the one I described early on in the podcast with the gentleman, like he had some blow up doll on top of him, like he was being intimate with another woman. It's like, that's not cool, man, because if you came in there and your wife was doing that or his girl was doing that, it'd probably been a totally different story. And it's funny because I watched one video where I forget if it was a husband and a wife, but somebody did the same thing again, but the other spouse ran to the closet and grabbed the handgun, and I was like, oh snap! But the person like, no, it's a prank. It's a prank. But it's like, again, when you play those type of games with people, you don't know how things could escalate, and when things escalate to the point where you didn't intend or you didn't calculate, you have to go ahead and take that L. So if your spouse would have blew you away, that's the cost of you playing those type of dangerous games. So to me, like those type of things, to me, like I said, that it's just very dishonorable. Like I was thinking about just about the character and nature of the Lord. It's like certain things are just dishonorable, you know. Oftentimes, like I said, when you sent me that video on TikTok, I was watching other videos, and one of the things that came to my mind was like, wow, man, this culture is just so dishonorable that they just do things without even considering the other person's feelings or how it may affect them, you know, the other person. It's like, yeah, it's a joke to you, but it's not a joke, you know, when someone and this joke wise get shot or get hit or gets killed. Like I don't know. I remember a couple years ago. I seen it was probably like 5 to 8 years ago. This a boyfriend acted like he was a burglar, and he had on a mask, and his girlfriend came home. And he like was like Rod jumped from out of the behind the counter, and she ran in the road and got hit by a car. Now I don't know if that was real or not. Well, I mean, to me, because it looked real. But my point is, when you prank with people, when you prank, those are the kind of consequences that you have to realize that may occur. And oftentimes, I know that, when we do things, like when I was describing me driving and on my phone and almost gotten into a car wreck. Sometimes when we do things, we actually don't consider the totality of our actions or what could happen. And that's human nature. You know what I'm saying? I'm just over there on my phone, driving on the highway doing 60. And so, the cars in front of me start to slow down, and I don't pick up on it because I'm on my phone. And next thing you know, boom, I get into a car crash. So I mean, I just think that's just the cost of doing whatever thing that you may be doing.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I get that you're saying that, but to also say that this culture is dishonorable, I mean, like, what does that mean to anybody, The one thing that came to mind was just the different posts that come up online where it's like, would you slap your father for $1 million or, for $50,000? And the people's response in the caption is just kind of like, well, I mean, it's just one slap. I don't got to hit him hard, or I'm going to hit him with all my might or whatever.
I seen one that was like, would you sleep with your wife's sister for like $1 million? And this dude was like, well, my wife's sister getting that D tonight. I'm like, my God, man, like, really? So somebody can pay you to be dishonorable? Like, I mean, as a believer, I'm not surprised because people are just so engulfed with money, and this culture is about money and sex. So it's like, it doesn't really surprise me.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
I think that goes back to the saying where people are like, well, everyone has a price. You know what I'm saying? Everyone has a price. No one has offered you something high enough yet. And I'm just like, something should be off limits. Like it should be priceless. You know what I'm saying? And it's just kind of like, when you put things into perspective, it's like you are willing to sell, your family, your children, like anything. And right now, people online are talking about something higher, but trust me, people have sold themselves for lower than that. Let's say somebody is addicted to something and they've sold their children or themselves.
I was thinking about R. Kelly. I mean, people were saying when he was supposedly married to Aaliyah that he was paying the mom off. It's like, I mean, let's keep it 100. Let's keep it 100. I
believe that people are doing that for fame.
A dude can pay you $50,000 a month to sleep with your little 15, 14-year-old daughter. Like, come on, man.
I truly believe that people would do that because they think that
they would. They do it. I believe they would do it. They do it. Yeah. That they do it. But I was just thinking about that. It was just like, wow. I can't believe that people, that someone would actually just do something like that. Because to me, it's like, wow, that's just very despicable to me.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing I was thinking was just that, on one hand, like, oh, well, maybe we're not a fun couple, or maybe, you know what I'm saying? Like, you see it at first and it's like, haha. But then after a while, it's kind of like, for me, I know that in my marriage to you, I always think about like, okay, how can I build like trust? And I mean, like at first I wasn't conscious about that, but then the longer we've been married, I'm just kind of like, yeah, I probably shouldn't do that because that's going to cause, like I have become more considerate. If I'm honest, I've become more considerate than I was the first day we got married, just about how I do not want to create any type of confusion in our marriage. I don't want to create any type of like mistrust. I don't want you to think that I am like a liar. So there's times where you and I joke, right? There's times where you and I joke. I mean, we joke with our children too, but then it's like, there's a time to do that. And then there's a time to be serious. And there's a limit.
A boundary,
there's a boundary that I'm not going to go past because I'm just like, this will cause him to have some sort of insecurity in me. So I'm not going to do that. And I don't have to look at other couples who are trying to collect the views to do a prank. We might do something like jump out on one another in the house like, oh, I thought you were hiding. I remember when we first got married, you thought that I would hide around the house just so I could scare you. And I'm just like, no, I mean, I don't got no, like, I don't do that. But I can't think of like what I do now, not to scare you, but just to, I don't know, just kind of prank you or whatever, but not in that way of like, or I want to say prank. I'll take that word out because I don't think I try to do pranks. I think I just want to, see you laugh or whatever, so I don't think I try to do anything that's misleading. What about you?
I mean, that's
Oh, no, you do. Let me tell you, this is what you do. When we out at the store, you might go down the next aisle and then you run up behind me and like touch the calf of my leg or whatever. Like it's a spider crawling up my leg. That's what you do. I will say that's probably the only thing you do. And it don't matter, what store we in or whatever. Or it does matter what store. But most times when we're like, I don't know, grocery shopping and he thinks that I don't see him, you will run up like up on my leg and try to act like you something crawling up my leg. That's about all you do.
Yeah, but I do that most of the time because I know that you're not paying attention,
But what I'm saying is that's a way that you and I joke, and I feel like it gets
it's
me
clean.
every time.
Yeah.
And it doesn't hurt your integrity in my eyes. You know what I'm saying? Like It doesn't hurt, just like break that boundary. It doesn't break the mistrust. Like you don't ever try to scare me.
Yeah, I do it to our kids too.
Oh my God.
I'd be like,
they so gullible.
Let me tell you a secret. They'll be like, you want to tell me a secret? I'm like, yeah, let me tell you a secret. And they come over there and I just start nibbling on their ear and they start tickling. I'm like, yeah, well, got you, buddy. But I think in everything we do, there just has to be a level of balance and just, a point where we won't go past. But before I wanted to read the scripture. It's Ephesians 4:29, and it says, "Let no corrupt talk come out of your mouth, but only such as good for building up, as fits the occasion, that it may give grace to the hearer." So, and I know that's kind of like, well, what's that do anything? What it has to do is that even in me, joking around, I'll say it should still give a level of grace to whoever I'm joking with. And what I'm saying is, like, to me, it shouldn't go past a certain point. Like, it shouldn't go past a certain level. It's like, as a married woman or man, why would you think it's okay to do anything that might create insecurity in the heart of your spouse? Whether it's acting like you on the phone with another man or woman, acting like you somewhere, that you're not supposed to be, or whatever the case may be. It's like, well, why? You think it's okay to do things that would create insecurity in the heart of your spouse? There's a scripture that says we sow the wind and we reap the whirlwind. So basically, you sowing, a little breath of air, but you're reaping a whole tornado, And what I mean by that is, like, you never know how down the road, how that actually may affect your spouse. It's kind of like I've seen in different movies and different TV shows where a spouse or a partner may have accused another one of cheating, and they're like, "I've never cheated on you. Like, what are you talking about?" So after a while of them continuing to accuse them of doing it, they just go out and do it. And in most cases, the person never really realized, or never stopped to actually realize that maybe I shouldn't create this insecurity in the heart of my spouse or my wife or my husband. That's why I say, like, in most cases, the jokes and stuff that you see, they're just very dishonorable. It's just dishonorable. Anytime you think it's funny or you get a kick out of seeing someone in that kind of mind frame or mentality, to me, is also a level. It's a level of being demonic, because that's not the nature and character of God.
Which part? The pranking or the creating the insecurity in someone who trusts you?
The pranking to the point where it just creates an insecurity, and it's kind of bizarre because, like, in today's culture, along with being dishonorable, like this culture, they have to take everything to the extreme. That's why and God rest the souls, but a lot of the rappers who OD, it's like, they don't want just cocaine, they don't want just marijuana, they don't want just heroin, they don't want just ecstasy. They start mixing stuff with lean and getting marijuana, and then you doing cocaine too. It's like, it's bam, it's just their heart explode. And it just speaks to a level of doing things in the extreme, even like sexually. People just go over and beyond in ways I don't care to describe. But it's like even now, like I've heard just people just talk about their sex life, and it's like, man, it's just so extreme. Like, my God, like, but it's like, again, this culture is just very dishonorable. They don't know how to just crack a little joke or whatever. It always goes to the extreme.
Yeah, you're saying to the extreme, but to add on to it, I feel as though what you're trying to say, what you're saying, and, to add to what you're saying, yes, people do go to the extreme, but it's like they don't realize how much their words impact them. They don't realize how, like, I was watching a video yesterday that came across my feed, and it was like, oh yeah, this woman is cleaning up, candidate signs, from the election. What I think she should be doing is like, how dare she just pick up this or steal the signs from their yard? Why don't she just follow through and burn their house down? And it's like, one person could be joking about that in the same way that you're saying, like, rappers can be, just talking about drug use and sleeping around and same with like everyday people who could be talking about sleeping around. And what you're saying to the extreme is that someone will hear that, see that, and be like, well, we've been talking about it so much. Like, they might be inspired to actually go and actually do it,
Yeah. Not even realizing that the person who's actually doing it for the views, it was all planned out. Like, it's not even real. Yeah. So it's like yeah, they start to rationalize in their head that, like, oh, well, that does make sense. They made a good point. We should actually go and do it. And so that's why you hear, like, it's cancel culture, right? Mm-hmm. And you hear people say, well, don't go and bash them. I'm just bringing up what happened and this and that. And I'm like, well, if you know that people are going to go and like flood this celebrity or that celebrity for their wrongdoings or like in their past. Exactly. Why even mention it? Because the way cancel culture is set up and just the way our culture is set up today is people always feel moved to go and do something about it. Not to say that there's times and moments in time where we shouldn't be moved to do something about it. But I just feel like some things people take a little bit too seriously and to the point where they want to feel like they believe what you're saying to the point where they have to carry it out. They have to fulfill what you're saying. And so that's why it's very scary. It can become very scary at times, when you're using your platform to inflict harm on others or otherwise. That's true.
Well, I enjoyed this conversation with you.
Most definitely. It's always a pleasure to talk to you and just to discuss different topics that are on our minds and just things that we see. And we're gonna continue to do that throughout our podcast. As always, thank you for listening to us. Thank you for supporting us. You can listen to our podcast everywhere where podcasts can be found. We're actually now on Amazon Podcast, which has been a new addition to the podcasting platforms. I guess Amazon just launched their own podcast platform, I think about a month and a half ago. And you can always follow us on Facebook and Instagram, which is the only two places that you can follow us on as far as social media wise.
Well, YouTube's a social media. Follow our podcast on YouTube if you like to listen to podcasts on YouTube.
That's true. And so until next time, peace.